In one of the most lopsided matchups we've seen this season, Satou Sabally just turned the Athletes Unlimited court into her personal highlight reel. NaLyssa Smith, usually a defensive powerhouse, had no answers. None. From step-back threes to drives that left defenders frozen, this wasn't just a great game, this was a statement. Whether you're a fan of women's basketball or just appreciate pure hoops excellence, what you're about to see is next-level basketball. For Satou Sabally, she signed to Adidas. She just put on a clinic at UNRIVALED, and I'm here to tell you her draft stock, her trade value has just went up through the roof. She went off tonight. There is definitely something that got her cooking. This is the night Satou Sabally reminded everyone why she's one of the most unstoppable forces in the game. And the mist is the UNRIVALED team with DJNA character. So DJNA is on the mist, and apparently they might have an injury. I don't know, because NaLyssa Smith is now at UNRIVALED. When we talk about statement games in professional basketball, what Satou Sabally just did in the Athletes Unlimited League goes beyond impressive stats. This wasn't just about putting up 29 points, it was about how those points came, the timing of each bucket, and the way she completely controlled the flow of the game from start to finish. Let's dive into what made this performance special, starting with her first quarter impact. Right from the opening possession, Sabally established her presence. Her first move of the game set the tone. A quick catch at the three-point line, one dribble to get her defender off balance, then a smooth drive to the rim. NaLyssa Smith, known for her defensive prowess, was caught between respecting the shot and protecting against the drive. That hesitation was all Sabally needed. Hell, I don't know what happened today, but she kicked it into a whole other gear, and I'm telling you right now, she gotta be paying attention to what people is saying online, because I'm telling you, she looked magnificent tonight. I can't even argue that. She was just sensational, bro, and she's definitely somebody I want to see on the Fever squad, bro. I just gotta keep it real. The shooting display was absolutely clinical. Going 5 for 5 from three-point range isn't just hot shooting. It's the kind of efficiency that forces defenses to completely abandon their game plan. What made these shots even more impressive was the degree of difficulty. We're talking about step-back threes, shots off screens, even a pull-up in transition that had the crowd on their feet. Each make seemed to demoralize the defense more than the last. No question, she had 29 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and she was 5 from 3, bro. She was 10 of 17 for the field, top leading scorer in UNRIVALED for the day. But here's what really stood out about Sabally's performance. Her footwork in the post. This is where she really showed her development as a player. The combination of size, skill, and basketball IQ was on full display. There was one sequence in the second quarter that perfectly illustrated this. Sabally caught the ball on the left block, faced up against Smith, gave a quick jab step to the middle, then spun baseline for an effortless finish. The move was so smooth, so quick, that Smith, one of the league's premier defenders, barely had time to react. The chemistry with her teammates was another level entirely. The pick-and-roll game, particularly in the third quarter, showed just how much Sabally has grown as a playmaker. She wasn't just looking to score. She was reading the defense, making the right passes, and creating opportunities for others. There was a beautiful sequence where she drew a double team and found her teammate cutting baseline for an easy layup. That's the kind of play that doesn't always show up in highlight reels, but makes a massive difference in game flow. Speaking of flow, let's talk about her third quarter takeover. This is when good players become great, when they sense the moment and seize it. With the game still relatively close, Sabally went on a personal 8-0 run that essentially put the game out of reach. It started with a deep three over Smith, followed by a strong drive to the rim, and capped off with another three that had the crowd going absolutely wild. The confidence, the poise under pressure, this was elite-level basketball. What makes this performance even more significant is the context. The Athletes Unlimited League has been providing a platform for players to showcase their talents, and Sabally just used that stage to remind everyone why she's considered one of the most versatile forwards in the game. The timing couldn't be better, coming right after signing with Adidas. This is the kind of game that validates that kind of investment. The defensive side of her game shouldn't be overlooked either. While the scoring numbers are what grab headlines, Sabally's defensive presence was equally impressive. She showed great awareness in help defense, made smart rotations, and used her length effectively to disrupt passing lanes. There was one possession where she blocked a shot, grabbed the rebound, and started the fast break herself. The kind of sequence that energizes an entire team. Her conditioning was evident throughout the game. Even in the fourth quarter, when most players start to show fatigue, Sabally was still moving with the same quickness and purpose as the first quarter. This level of endurance is what separates good players from great ones. She was still fighting through screens, still making hard cuts, still playing with high intensity on both ends of the floor. The impact of this performance goes beyond just one game. In terms of free agency value, this is the kind of showcase that makes front offices take notice. It's one thing to put up numbers, it's another to demonstrate complete control over a game against high-level competition. What Sabally showed was the ability to take over a game in multiple ways, as a scorer, as a facilitator, as a defender. Looking at the specific matchup with Smith, it became clear early on that this was a mismatch Sabally was ready to exploit. Smith is an excellent defender, but Sabally's combination of size, skill, and shooting ability created problems that didn't have easy solutions. When Smith played up close, Sabally drove past her. When Smith gave space, Sabally knocked down jumpers. It was a masterclass in reading and reacting to defensive coverage. The efficiency of her scoring can't be overlooked. Going 10 for 17 from the field shows not just hot shooting but smart shot selection. These weren't forced shots or desperate heaves. Every attempt seemed to come within the flow of the game. This kind of efficiency is what coaches dream about, especially from a player taking on such a large offensive load. The performance also showcased Sabally's basketball IQ. There were multiple possessions where she recognized mismatches early and either exploited them herself or forced the defense to adjust, creating opportunities for teammates. Her ability to read defensive rotations and make quick decisions stood out particularly in the second half. One of the most impressive aspects was how she handled defensive adjustments. When the opposition started sending extra defenders her way, Sabally remained patient and made the right reads. She didn't force shots or try to do too much. Instead, she used the added attention to create opportunities for others, showing the kind of maturity that defines elite players. From a technical standpoint, her shooting mechanics were textbook throughout the game. Even on contested shots, her release point stayed high, her follow-through was consistent, and her balance was perfect. This kind of mechanical consistency is what allows players to maintain their effectiveness even when defenses are keyed in on stopping them. By the time the fourth quarter rolled around, it was clear we were watching something special. The combination of skill, athleticism, and basketball intelligence on display was remarkable. This wasn't just a great individual performance, it was a statement about where Sabally stands in the hierarchy of professional basketball talent. Let's talk about what this performance means in the bigger picture of women's basketball. Satou Sabally didn't just have a great game, she shifted the entire conversation around free agency and her position in the league. This kind of dominant showing in Athletes Unlimited, particularly against a defender of NaLyssa Smith's caliber, sends ripples throughout professional basketball. The timing of this performance couldn't be more significant. Coming right after her Adidas deal, Sabally is showing exactly why major brands are investing in her. This isn't just about on-court performance, it's about star power. The way she controlled the game, the confidence she displayed, the engagement with the crowd. These are the intangibles that transform good players into marquee attractions. What's particularly noteworthy is how this performance fits into the evolution of the modern forward position. Sabally demonstrated exactly what teams are looking for in today's game. A versatile forward who can spread the floor, create their own shot, and defend multiple positions. The comparison to some of the game's elite players becomes more valid with each performance like this. We're watching a player who's not just adapting to the modern game but helping define what it looks like. The Athletes Unlimited League has been searching for these kinds of moments, performances that capture attention and demonstrate the high level of play. Sabally delivered exactly that. In a league that's been working to build its audience, having a player put on this kind of show provides exactly the kind of highlight-worthy content that helps grow the game. The social media buzz during and after the game proved that when the product is this good, people will pay attention. For teams looking to make a splash in free agency, this game serves as a perfect example of what Sabally brings to the table. It's not just the scoring, it's the complete package. The way she read defenses, created for others, and maintained defensive intensity while carrying the offensive load shows a player ready to be a franchise cornerstone. Front offices around the league had to be taking notes. The matchup with Smith was particularly telling because it showcased Sabally's ability to dominate against elite competition. Smith isn't just any defender. She's known for making life difficult for offensive players. The fact that Sabally not only scored efficiently, but did so in a variety of ways, demonstrates her readiness to be a primary option on any team. Looking at the market for versatile forwards, performances like this one dramatically impact negotiating positions. When you can take over a game this completely, while showing such a diverse skill set, it changes the conversation about value. Teams aren't just looking at a scorer or a defender. They're looking at someone who can be the focal point of both offensive and defensive schemes. The international aspect of Sabally's game was also on display. Her European experience shows in her footwork and court awareness. This global perspective in her play style makes her even more valuable in today's game, where international influence continues to shape how basketball is played at the highest level. The fluidity of her game, the way she uses angles and creates space, these are elements that translate to any style of play. For young players watching, this performance provided a masterclass in how to impact a game in multiple ways. It wasn't just about scoring, it was about controlling tempo, making the right reads, and staying engaged on both ends of the floor. The way Sabally maintained her composure, even as the defense threw different looks at her, offers a template for aspiring players to study. The reaction from fellow players on social media tells its own story. When your peers are showing respect and amazement at your performance, it carries special weight. The basketball community recognizes game-changing talent, and the response to this performance confirmed Sabally's status among the elite players in women's basketball. What makes this particularly exciting for the future of the sport is how it showcases the evolution of offensive skill sets. Sabally's ability to score from all three levels while maintaining efficiency represents where the game is heading. The days of forwards being limited to inside play are long gone, and performances like this one help push the boundaries of what's possible at the position. The impact on Athletes Unlimited itself can't be understated. The league has been providing a platform for players to showcase their talents, and when someone puts on a show like this, it validates the entire concept. It proves that meaningful, high-level basketball can happen in different contexts, creating more opportunities for players to develop and display their skills. For teams specifically looking at free agent forwards, this game provided a clear demonstration of what elite talent looks like. The ability to take over a game, make the right decisions consistently, and maintain efficiency while being the focal point of defensive attention, these are the qualities that championship teams look for in their key players. The way Sabally handled the post-game attention was equally impressive. There was no showboating or excessive celebration, just a professional who knew she had done her job at an elite level. This kind of maturity, combined with elite performance, is exactly what teams value in their marquee players. Looking ahead, this performance sets a new baseline for expectations. It's not just about what Sabally did in this game, it's about what this game suggests she's capable of doing consistently. When you demonstrate this level of skill and control, you create a new standard for yourself and raise the bar for the entire league. For the development of women's basketball as a whole, performances like this one matter tremendously. They provide concrete examples of the high level of play that exists in women's basketball, giving fans and media tangible moments to point to when discussing the quality of the game. Each time a player puts on this kind of show, it helps build the audience and respect for women's basketball. Look, what we just witnessed wasn't just another good game. It was the kind of performance that changes conversations around free agency. Sabally didn't just show up. She showcased every weapon in her arsenal. From the three-point shooting to the footwork in the paint, this is what elite basketball looks like.